Do that.
Nope.
What does a yellow light mean?
Excuse me?
I don't know. What does a yellow light mean?
Is the
Obviously, you
site
guys
set live, I assume?
Yes.
Taxi? Ever watch Taxi?
Yep.
Reverend Jim taking his driver's test. The guy turns around. Go slower. What does...
You have Taxi on the Plex server, Jim?
I can.
Not the movie.
Not the movie, the show. Danny DeVito. I don't know.
No, don't do that just for me. I'll download it at home.
Yeah, you
Depends how your mic looking.
have all the stuff now.
My mic is looking great, Alex. It's in the same place it normally is. I'm talking into it. I can hear myself back, which is less than ideal. But now I can't hear myself back, so it's great.
All right.
Well, you turn that down.
What?
Whatever you turned down, I couldn't hear Ken anymore.
Well, yeah.
He's in
here.
the room.
I
Yeah,
understand.
you're not supposed to. You've never been able to hear me.
I was just then.
God.
Yeah, because there's monitor up.
We all share the same monitor feed.
Well, you don't have to, but
So when
know,
I
I'm
said I
speaking
can
to
hear
Jesus,
myself, that meant everyone in the studio could hear me.
Why is this not sorted by the date?
Because it's Google Drive, and it has been that way since the day of forever. Probably 30, 50 years
what?
BBY.
you're talking about the
Podcast show notes folder.
yeah.
Which every time I go
never
into...
none of these folders have ever sorted
It always shows
chronologically.
short
No, in
chronological
fact,
for me.
477 doesn't show up until I searched for it.
Like, look, literally, now it's
Oh
up
my
the
God,
top.
click the
Google
button.
Drive, not Google Docs.
Yeah, Drive.
Yeah.
Drive is far superior.
Drive will do it by
It just,
or
for
at
some
least you
reason,
can choose to sort
it
it.
forgot that I had chosen
Yeah,
to
look,
sort
it
it that
actually
way.
looks like a file system in Drive as opposed to Docs.
Yep.
Yeah.
Don't
Which
care.
just sucks.
Like I'm sorting the folder default sorts by last modified
Shake it out.
for me.
Shake
Are we
it out.
streaming? We're streaming.
We are streaming,
Yep.
but someone says there's audio issues?
All right, let's see.
Yeah, I just brought the audio stream up.
Echo,
They're using a real audio
Twitch,
player,
that looks
so
much
no
better than
wonder.
YouTube. Real audio is not the same as stream audio. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, YouTube shows green on our side.
Chad, if there's any audio issues, let us know now or forever hold your peace.
They say all's good there.
Okay, here we go.
All right.
The number on the rundown is wrong.
Is it? Oh, it is. Shit.
So close.
Womp womp.
The TV's sinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's just so we can move the tripod back further.
Yeah, I need to move this desk back. Like 6 inches, it'll be fine.
Well, it's on those easy mover thingies.
Yeah, it should move just
Yeah.
fine. All right, so we got
Every other
that.
cable has to go with it, though.
There's plenty of slack in there.
All right, everybody good? Everybody's
Famous
there.
last
We're here. Here we go.
Okay.
YouTube is.
I'm adequate.
Let me check YouTube real quick.
Not good.
Not good?
Audio is 5x5. Can't hear you guys cut out. Is there one of the shots that doesn't have audio or something?
Shouldn't. Should have audio.
I don't know.
love you
Do I have
always,
audio?
forever, near and far. We'll be together every day. I'll be with you,
No, we're on YouTube.
near and far, always together.
Oh, are you finished or are you going to keep going?
Sorry, you were gonna get no
No,
backup
man.
singers.
Nope.
You know, it's 90s pop for you.
I would have
I
done
mean, we
this.
knew what it
Yes, it
was. That
It's
was
the
the
Welsh
issue.
girl.
By the way, the thing I was trying to do by downloading the old installer for Dropbox doesn't work. It still does a online check.
Or it's the OS version. For some reason.
No, because I'm on an older OS version.
Yeah, okay.
The Dropbox installer pulls code down
Clearly.
Yeah.
when you run it. It doesn't have the whole...
That is clearly the case.
There's no such thing as an offline install of Dropbox thing that needs to be online.
Shocking.
Well, I mean, they could just bundle the correct installer when you download it and not have to download additional assets. Like, they could do that.
Well, that would make sense.
I
It's like
would
Steam.
recommend it. Yeah. Okay, now we're ready, right?
Yes.
All right, here we go. 3, 2. Hey, everybody, welcome to the PC Perspective Podcast. This is episode 477, being recorded on November 29th, 2017. I'm Ryan Shrout.
I'm Jeremy Hellstrom.
I'm Josh Walrath.
I'm Alan Malventano, and there's some other people over here laughing and giggling, and Ken's over
Ken
there.
and Alex and Jim and Josh is apparently the 13-year-old kid on the 13-year-old girl on the podcast. I always knew that was the
Asian
case, really.
girl.
Yeah, clearly. Welcome. I'm sure everybody missed us. We didn't have a show last week because of Thanksgiving. Did we have a show the week before?
Yes.
Yes.
Was I on it?
Yes.
Oh, okay. See, and here I thought I was missing many consecutive weeks.
Well, if
but
you didn't do it this week, you would have missed last
There's a
week,
chance-
this week, and next week.
There's a chance I get on 478. Not a
Really?
great one, but there's a chance. Because that's like, what, 10 a.m. where we'll be?
No,
10:30?
we're not 12 hours different.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking of Twitch tomorrow. Never mind. But for the next Thursday. Welcome, everybody. I hope everybody who is in the U.S. at least had a good holiday. We are here to talk about some tech news and stuff that happened. Even though this is kind of like a 2-week episode, we don't have a huge amount of stuff to go through because people take holiday vacations. In fact, most of last week when I emailed somebody, I got an auto return bounce of, hey, I will be gone for the foreseeable future. Please expect long delays in email responses. I've never set one of those up before. Have you guys ever set up an out of office
Yeah.
thing before?
Back when I had a job where people emailed
It's
me.
called having a regular job.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, you
Yeah.
know, working for a living.
I-
we do it regularly.
Well, I feel like if I didn't respond to emails even while I was kind of quote on vacation, that would be, I don't know, it feels weird.
Taboo.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess that's
what
I guess
the
that's bad.
autoresponders for.
There's plenty of other people that do that thing.
Yeah.
We need to have a nice
It's
long
kind of like
discussion
having
about.
a waifu pillow. Feels weird at first, but
A waifu pillow, yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, well, whatever.
Work-life balance.
No, I feel
That's a
like
good
I
thing.
have that.
Yes,
like I
thank
do
you,
a lot
Ken.
of
Thank you.
stuff. I do a lot of other things, but it like I don't think there's anything wrong with reading an email and then like if I reply back, hey, I'll get back to you in a couple of days. That feels better than a stale, robotic. I am out of the office. Please expect long delays on email. I don't know.
Well, you can write it yourself.
And the other
or
thing
hire
is-
someone to write it for you so that
That's
it
true.
sounds better.
They always say I'll have limited access to the internet. Where do you have limited access to the internet?
Yeah, you don't actually have limited access to anything. And then if anything, what I would think an out-of-office replier would do for me is automatically reply to some emails that show up that I would normally never
reply to.
acknowledge. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And so that gives them a little bit of like, oh, they actually are paying attention. They're actually seeing these emails, and I don't want that to happen either.
And
So-
then we'll introduce you to the wonderful world of email rules, where when they reply back, they're just shipped off into the trash can.
I have that as
It's
well.
a
It's
wild
just-
world out there.
Shift 3 is my delete button. I go through that a lot. Welcome, everybody. We do record the show on Wednesday nights, which is what it is currently as we record this. 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, pcper.com/live. You can find our chat room there. You can interact with us through that. There's a bunch of other people that participate. If you guys have interesting things to talk about, yeah, we can do that in there. So if you need a little reminder, you can go to pcper.com/subscribe. And all this is a form that you see here in front of you. Ask for your name and email address, and I simply send you an email, or somebody here will send you an email.
Probably, maybe.
Probably, usually somewhere between 2 hours and 20 minutes before the show actually begins.
Sometimes after.
Sometimes you start at 20 minutes before and it ends 10 minutes into the show. Look, we can't control how the mailing service really works when you're sending out that many emails. So there's millions of you guys on this list, literally millions.
Doesn't play on the audio version.
Sorry. We also still have our Patreon campaign going. That is at patreon.com/PCPer. This is your ability to become a monthly recurring contributor to us.
Coming up on 2 years.
It is coming up to 2 years because we did this at CES 2 years ago. If you watch the video that we recorded, those are all CES highlight hotspots, like the escalator in the empty exhibit hall, or
And the elevator in the empty exhibit hall.
right, or the bathtub in our suite. All like right, perhaps there, for example. More Josh Tech. So we really appreciate everybody who does that. If you want to, if you become a
you
contributor,
know, I put in a complaint with HR about that picture.
oh, hold on, I'm reading HR's response right
Is
now.
Sebastian talking to you again?
Great. That means I have to check this thing mature now.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Anybody who becomes or
blur it out.
increases their patronage during the live stream will get a shout out during the show. So keep that in mind as I go here to check my email to make sure nobody has done that already. Sometimes we get some people in there. Yes, actually we have one. Donna Lewis has edited their pledge from $19.98 to $25.25.
Hey.
Thank you.
Lewis.
Thank you very much, Donna Lewis.
Lewis. You know who Donna Lewis is?
I
She's
don't?
the girl who sings "I love you always forever."
Hey, Josh,
I
you
gotta
should-
change glasses.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Fair enough. We also have, if you haven't checked that out, our mailbag. We're on episode 19, Thanksgiving edition, that has a guest appearance by my daughter in it for brief moments. This is kind of like our 15 to 25 minute show thing where you submit questions in through the YouTube channel or through the website directly, and we answer them, and it's neat. Alan did one for me a couple weeks ago. I think
It was longer than 25 minutes.
Alan will, weird. Alan will probably do another one this week for us.
And then maybe Josh.
And maybe Josh the next week. We'll see if he's
I'm gonna do what?
amenable to that. You're going to do a mailbag next week while I'm gone.
Yeah, so
Oh,
submit,
well,
submit
yes.
storage questions. And
Submit
Oh.
storage questions for Alan.
Yeah.
And then
I'm gonna have
submit
a Fred
steering wheel
Shorn
questions.
mailbag.
Steering wheel and
Josh.
processor
Okay.
technology
Josh, that's
questions.
MAIL bag.
Yeah.
Just to
Exactly.
clarify.
Mail.
Josh can't spell.
No, as opposed to MALE bag.
Yeah, but he just can't spell.
Oh.
so it
So
doesn't,
he doesn't
matter.
know.
Yeah. We have PC per plays. I don't think we've gotten that one up yet. Have the I don't think you ever posted the Jedi Academy
It's all your
one.
fault, Alex.
Oh, shit. Well, that'll be up tomorrow then.
We'll do that tomorrow. We'll have
My bad,
PC
sorry.
per plays Jedi Academy.
Jedi Knight, Jedi.
Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy, where I do the best thing possible and I murder the character who's obviously going to become bad. I murder within the
Spoilers.
first 20 seconds of gameplay. Unknowingly, I didn't know you could do team kill, but it turns out it was the right move. And so if we didn't retcon it and reload the save game, I think I would have actually finished the game with the best ending.
Yeah.
At that
We
point,
loaded a
right?
bunch of arbitrary player models that were pretty great.
That's true. If you want to see a Jawa wield a lightsaber and do force jumps and stuff, it's pretty good.
And Ryan gets around the platforming sections by just loading the Boba Fett model and
Yes.
using jetpacks.
I did do that.
So, you know.
Because honestly, the platforming in the game is awful.
Yeah.
It's
Not-
bad.
not
it's
good.
bad. It's bad. All right, let's jump into the stuff this week. And we're going to try to make it as short and tight as possible because I have to get up early for a flight. Let's talk with Jim first, as he sits over there at my desk with no headphones. So he has no idea that Josh is just making fun of him ferociously throughout this entire thing.
I can feel it.
He's just over there behind the cables. If you're on the video version, he's just nope. There you go.
Wrong way. There
Nope.
you go.
Yep,
The best
there he
thing
is.
about him
Can they see
is
me?
that he is
Yeah.
slightly
Yeah, they can
out of
see you.
Hi.
focus.
He's slightly
That's how we like to keep Jim, slightly out of focus.
And just
better for
mumble
So
into the mic,
Jim,
and yeah, you'll be happy.
Let's talk about the Ultimate Cord Cutting Guide Part 2. It is the second after the Part 1. That's as far as my analysis is going of this evening. What did we dive into in this piece?
Right. So the first week we kind of went over like conceptually what we wanted to do for cord cutting, and this isn't just an exercise in theory. We're actually doing this. Ryan's trying to work on it. Alan's got it going at his house. I'm doing it. And so this week we took the decisions we made in week 1 and we put them to actual practice. And if you read the week 1 piece, you know that we settled based on the specs and capabilities on the NVIDIA Shield the Shield TV as opposed to the Shield tablet. That gets a little
Right,
confusing.
or the Shield handheld thing.
Yeah. So we went with the Shield TV because even though it's a couple years old now, it's still the most powerful, the most versatile device out there for doing this kind of stuff, short of a home theater PC. We did have some comments about that, and that's true. Although we wanted something that was a little more compact, a little bit easier to use than having to worry about custom configs on an HTPC. So we went with the Shield, and we talked about setting up Plex, which is basically going to be the center of our experience.
Right.
And the reason for that is Plex does your own content. It does an increasing amount of online content, including news and stuff like that. And now, or at least for the last 6 months or so, it does live TV and DVR. So that means that from one interface, you can have all of your recorded and saved stuff as well as the live stuff coming in. And that's great, not just for convenience for us, but, you know, we all have spouses and significant others who may not be into dealing with this kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
they're not going to put up with, if you're trying to do this at home, they're not going to put up with having to jump in and out of apps and reboot stuff and all that. So that was the idea. And on top of just the TV, because other devices do Plex and do live TV, things like Apple TV, Roku, stuff like that. But Shield TV allows us to access a whole bunch of Android apps. It allows us to do game streaming, both from our local PC as well as from GeForce Now servers. It allows us to do emulation for retro games. So if you're waiting to get one of those SNES classics, you know, who needs it? You can get that plus 1,000 other games.
Completely
on your
legitimately.
system. It's a gray area.
Yeah.
It's mostly black, but there's some gray in there. But you know, whatever. It's a homebrew ROMs. Way to go. So it really does offer that versatility, and we set it up and we've been playing with it in our houses and here at the office, and it works great for the most part. One of the things that we've learned even since this article came out that we'll talk about more in our final part of this series is live TV is a little iffy.
Yep.
It works. It does DVR. It now does commercial skipping. That just came out this week, I think, on Monday.
Yeah, it does. It records the show first, and then it goes through.
Right.
And, you know.
So if you're setting up auto recordings, Plex I think it uses ComSkip, which is that open source software. That will it'll take care of those commercials for you, which is nice. But the live TV, it doesn't work great in practice. There's a delay when you want to change channels.
Yep.
There's and just to clarify, we're using a network tuner. We're using HD Home Run, a 2-tuner model. So a delay when you change channels, a delay sometimes in tuning certain channels just in general, like it'll just stop tuning it or freeze for a minute. Sometimes it recovers, sometimes it doesn't. One of the benefits of Plex is that you can have your server in one location and stream to you from wherever you are over the internet on your mobile device or from another device in another house or something. And live TV in that context is really finicky. You have all the delays you do locally, except they're amplified, and you have even more failures. So what we're experiencing now, and again, like we'll talk about this more in the final piece, is it's probably not ready for prime time. I would not, even though on paper we were really excited about this, I would not recommend this type of setup where you're getting your only TV through Plex if someone else in your house is relying on TV. If that's what they want, they want that live TV component. I wouldn't put, you know, my wife through it. I know Ryan's wife is probably, and Alan's wife has said some things about it too. It's not ideal.
If you have it doing DVR recordings, I found that all that stuff seems pretty rock solid.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the live part.
It's just the live stuff. And you can't easily jump into, like, if you were to tune the same station that was currently being recorded, another tuner will tune to that same station. In
As
other words,
opposed to using the same stream.
Like a regular DVR would just kind of jump right into the thing it was already recording.
I assume so,
And
yeah.
you could scrub back to even the beginning of it because it was already recording. You can't on Plex. You have to wait until the entire show has been recorded, then you can go back to that recording to go back earlier in the show.
Okay.
As opposed to if you just want to jump in the middle of it, you're kind of stuck.
Right.
At least for the moment. It's it's getting better. It's just that it's like not fully baked.
Yeah. And it is still a relatively new feature. Plex introduced DVR capability, so not live, but DVR from an antenna last fall. So it's been a year. Live TV is still and as Alan said, and the benefit there too is if you have an existing library of content that you've acquired, if you set up your DVR recordings, Plex will figure out what the recording is from the programming data, record it, dump it in your existing library right alongside your content. So if you're watching some shows and you're missing a few episodes and those episodes come on, it detects that you're missing those episodes, downloads them, puts them in your library, and then when you go to that section of your on-demand content, it's just right there. And now will be commercial free too. So,
and there's even a checkbox if you turn it on. It's kind of dangerous, but it will even replace.
Yeah, it can do analysis of the quality of each file, and it will replace. So if you have a DVD rip at 480p, it will replace it with a 1080i rip from over the air.
Yep.
If you want.
It's
it
a
is
lot of
optional.
trust.
That's a lot of trust. I have not checked that box.
Yeah.
So in summary,
But you would just save multiple copies anyway.
Sure.
So we found that it's the same old Plex, which we've been using for years, which is great. All this extra functionality on the Shield for having the apps and the games and emulation and stuff has been great. The live TV is just not there. So that is a big issue, because that was one of the crucial things we wanted to have when we set this out. So now we're looking at other options, like some of these subscription streaming services like YouTube TV that offer live. So you can still get them. There are other ways to get them. In fact, you can even, with the network tuner, you can run the HD Home Run app on the Shield and tune the TV that way as well over the air. That works great.
Yep.
It's not a problem with the tuner.
Oh, okay. All right.
So
Actually, I found out today, maybe that's... what was I looking at, Ken? I could just open up my computer on a new machine.
yeah.
And the HD Home Run shows
just
up
there.
and then it lists all the channels it can see, and you just double click it, and it runs it in Media Player.
Yeah.
yeah,
And I was like, holy crap.
Yeah, that works just fine. For any
it's
computer on the
MPEG
network.
streams.
Yeah.
Another thing you can do is actually use the Google Live Channels app on Android TV with the HD Home Run if you want to view stuff. And that, I believe, probably integrates with Google now, so you could say like watch.
Yeah.
It does, yes.
ABC
watch
or
ABC
something.
or whatever. You'd probably have to have like the exact affiliate name, because that's the channel ID or whatever.
course.
And as a stopgap, if you're trying to get into Plex and you want to be able to do this live TV thing, and if the Plex thing is being finicky and you don't feel like restarting the server, you could just fire that up. Like, it's the HD Home Runs are intelligent. Like, if something's using a tuner or two, like there's still tuners available. Like I have the quad tuner version, right? So if the thing's acting up, you can still just on a Windows PC go the regular route. You can just do what you were explaining. And even if there were other,
I was just amazed that it was a brand new machine out of the box, and I logged into it, and I went to my computer. I was like, oh, what's this? Well, HD Home Run shows up on the network. Double click. Wait, it lists all the channels: 5.1, 5.2, 9.1, 2.3.
Your Windows 10 install did have to grab a MPEG-2 decoder from the App Store.
It did have to
Which
do
is
that.
funny.
That's true. It had to have an MPEG-2 decoder plug-in for Windows
Like
Media Player.
120K download.
Yeah. So there was that, but
Licensing
very
costs
cool
are
nonetheless.
Real bitch.
Any other final points here? We just point people to the story. What makes sense?
Yeah, check out the story. So we're really happy with it, except for live TV. And what we're going to be we're looking at in the final piece in the next week or so is, what does this do to bandwidth? Because if you're going to cut the cord and you're going to be relying on the internet for everything, and you're in one of those situations where you have a cap, what does that look like? Cost savings. Does this actually save money when you add up everything? How much are you saving? And then any other final issues that we encounter over the next week or two. So check that out, and please send us your questions if you'd like us to look at anything specific. We'll do our best to accommodate that.
Very cool. We had a question. So he's making a joke about what year is it if you have to download MPEG-2, but the point is it's uncompressed. Like, and we looked at the network
that's
usage.
what HDTV streams are.
When I was when I looked at my network utilization on that laptop when I was running, it was like 40 megabits.
Yeah.
Right, of just video streaming from the
And it looks
from the HD
great.
Home Run, and it looked amazing. Right, I was like, all right. It turns out this has some benefits when you get it to work right. All right.
And the reason you have to download it is because of licensing costs.
Right.
Microsoft says, okay, we have to provide this functionality, but we don't
if
want
we
to
don't
pay
have to pay
for
for
it.
everybody up front.
And they've been doing that since
only
the Windows
people who are
Media
going to
Center
want
days.
it or need it.
Yeah.
We're going to pay for. I'm glad I cost Microsoft that 12 cents or whatever their licensing fee
Take
was.
that.
Do you remember
Della.
when they bundled the ability to play DVDs on the original Xbox with the DVD remote?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you had to buy that remote
You had to
control,
buy
You
it.
gotta
No.
buy a separate.
and that was because of the licensing cost.
Yeah.
Interesting. Interesting. All right. We got a couple of other things here we're going to run through real quick. These are Sebastian reviews. He is unfortunately on assignment in Cambridge, England.
Really?
Probably drinking beer and just being a rambunctious, obnoxious American over there. He seems like that kind of guy if I've ever met one, right? But he posted a review of the Corsair HS50 stereo gaming headset. This is a $50 gaming headset that, anytime you deal with low-cost audio gear, you have this risk, right? So, I don't know much about the audio specs here. You guys can take a look at this and tell me, 50 millimeter driver, the frequency response rates, impedance, all this stuff, whether or not that's good or bad compared to other higher cost or similarly cost headsets. Man, he loves using that head, that clear acrylic head. Looks like our thing locked up again there. I don't know what's going on. Long story short is,
Oh no.
yeah, I don't know why my scrolling is not working. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll kick it after the story.
All right. The conclusion takeaway here is that it's actually a really, really good headset for $50. As he writes at the end, sets a high bar for a budget-conscious gaming headset trading surround effects, which it doesn't have, for very high build quality. And he seems very impressed by the build quality, similar to much more expensive headphones. A solid 2-channel audio, outstanding comfort in the mix, and you have compelling choice that feels like a bargain at $49. So it got an editor's choice from Sebastian in that case. So
How's microphone quality? Did he mention that?
I'm sure he did. Let me see here. He talks about the 50mm drivers. The microphone offers above average sound with good background noise rejection, and mic is more full sounding than I expected, with only a little of the characteristic smaller mic sound. He compared it to the voice quality on a phone, 3G voice.
Yeah, that's the one thing that has really annoyed me tremendously about gaming headsets.
Agreed.
Is they really pay a lot of attention to the looks and maybe the drivers, but the microphone quality typically always pretty lacking. I mean, it's not, like one of these big diaphragm mics, but
Sure.
Come on, give us something better.
Agreed.
And it sounds like Corsair did okay.
They did for $50. Sounds great.
Yeah.
Pause there.
Pause there.
What are you going to do?
We're just going to kick
Is your
VMix.
network cable maybe just like hiccuping or something? Or
No, it's been green. Now I've got one connection again, though.
Yeah, it does discovery on it, but it's not actually refreshing.
No, before when it was locked up, I come to this and it says 0 connections, and now I'm seeing
one connection, but
one connection, and now it says 55 frames per second.
Yeah, that's the actual capture on it. If I go in here and actually go and change it and do rediscovery on it, it refreshes.
Oops.
And now it works.
There you
There
go.
it went.
But
Funny, now it shows 2 connections instead of.
Actually, that's
yours-
interesting. Mine
yours
shows
says
0,
but
and
it's
his
clearly
shows
2 because over there it says 2.
Try scrolling now.
Yeah, now it's broken.
yeah, all right, let me kick VMix.
All right, we're gonna restart VMix.
All right, we're gonna go black for a second.
Will audio still be there?
Nope.
All right, we'll be right back.
But I heard that once you go
Bye.
black, you'll never go back.
Josh, jeez.
Of course,
You're supposed
Josh.
to cut it before you finish.
Well, you gotta let him
Reboot it.
All right.
Don't.
Yeah, just
You never have to let. I could have been over there.
Maybe I wish you were.
Quite happy to cut Ken off, though, eh?
Well, yeah.
Oh, what happened? Oh, there it is.
You're not Jeremy. There's Jeremy.
Not too bad.
And now I got a black screen for the desktop. That's awesome. Yeah, it's not showing up at all now.
You're
I
not
don't know if he
going
needs
back.
to restart his app again or something. Or
Yep, I think we need to switch it over to an HDMI port. I'm sick of
Couldn't
dealing with
get
these.
HDMI out of that laptop was the issue we were having.
oh, that
that what the issue
immediately
was?
jumped
Yeah.
up in number of connections.
That's annoying.
Yeah.
All right, there's the full display.
Well, you might need to have the. It was better.
Well, knock on wood, usually when we restart VMix, it usually behaves.
I don't know if this matters now or not, Alex, but like people were saying that this shot was super like blown out or something. Like the laptops were
not
gray,
blown
not
out.
black, or
What?
something. I don't know.
It's not that bad.
It's
Like your
We're not
laptop
changing
is
it
still
in the middle of the
black.
show.
It's,
No,
it's maybe
fine.
a stop overexposed, but like
Okay.
Yeah, it's actually exposed negative 1/3 stop. It's down.
It's autoing on something that's.
Yeah. I'll run it through the
Did
levels
you
and
show me my
post.
screen over here again?
There you go.
It's locked up again.
Seriously.
Yeah. Hang on a second.
Fix your
I
shit,
swear
man.
to God, if it's that flaky Ethernet adapter that we've been battling for 2 years.
Now, we used to have that laptop plugged into the switch that was over here.
Yeah, it still didn't work. It's never really worked.
I do see the green lights going in and out. Hang on a second.
Do we have another USB network adapter laying
Nope.
around?
Oh,
I was
not for
concerned about
USB-C.
that plug being looser and looser. Yeah, there you go.
All right. This time it's going to connect and it's going to work for really.
Really?
For reals?
Really, Rails?
So now
For
try
really
to
reals?
rediscover it.
All right.
This time it's definitely going to work. Okay.
Move the run.
Go back to me. And ready?
Yep.
3, 2, recording and everything, right?
We are?
3, 2. All right. And Sebastian, busy guy over the last couple of weeks, still not here to talk about any of these reviews. I think he timed this trip specifically for this reason. He did post a review of the Inwind 301 tempered glass mini tower case, which I think is really awesome looking.
Yeah.
Right.
Sharp looking case.
It's nice looking.
It is.
Got no
and also
fans. Where are the fans?
impossible
fans?
to take pictures of, according to him as well. With
He needs
anytime
a-
you've
he
got
needs a
that tempered
polarizer
glass.
filter.
He wants that reflection in it.
Oh, he does.
Yeah.
Oh. What
Yeah.
What do you see in it? Oh, you see his speaker.
I mean, like he wants
symmetry
the
of the
reflection,
speaker.
or else
Ugh.
he would
Ugh.
eliminate it.
Yeah, Sebastian does not make mistakes like that.
Where are the Where are the fans?
Let's see. It is. You mean what? Like where are the fans? Are they included, or where do the fans go?
Fans, one rear. Oh well, the
You can
rear
have
fan wasn't
2 front,
installed.
1 rear, 2 bottom.
Huh.
Yeah. Although the 2 bottom ones do occupy a PCIe slot. What's interesting about this is that it's only $65 for the white version, $69 for the black version.
That's cheap.
Yeah.
For tempered glass, and you can see it's got the handle up here. Inwind does a lot of really good, interesting, and creative designs.
The Inwind logo. Scroll up.
Yeah, what does that do?
What is? I mean,
Does that
is
do
it just
something?
always say Inwind, or is
yeah,
it a little
or if you look at
LCD?
the other way, it's Nimni.
Nimni.
Yep. Nee.
I'm pretty sure it's just been like that.
It might
If you
light
read
up.
it from
Yeah.
bottom to top,
It
it's
lights up.
ZZ.
Yeah, it looks like it's backlit.
Yeah, I don't know. And here's another one.
It is.
Oh, okay. And you can see the umbrella.
You can see the umbrella and his wife in the background,
Again,
and the
totally
small
on
child
purpose.
with audio equipment in its mouth.
It's got a cool honeycomb pattern on the back as well. That captures the thumb screws and all. I just think it's it's a mini. It's a not mini. It's a micro ATX tower. So it's on the small side, but I think it just has a lot of like personality to it, which seems odd to say about a chassis, really. Easy to access, fairly easy to work in. You can see like an interior shot, very clean lines, not a lot of like exposed, cruddy looking metal or anything like that. You can see there's Alan. You can see the
There's
fan
the
openings
fans.
on the front.
Oh, okay.
If you want to do it, there's the back plate, so you can access the rear of the motherboard, even while doing that SSD holder. You need to upgrade his. I guess it's just for demo purposes. Probably don't need to upgrade him for that reason alone. But, you can see there. I mean, that's actually a good shot. He was able to get the 240 millimeter Corsair CPU cooler mounted in there. He had a full length AMD Radeon graphics card installed. In terms of performance and whatnot.
It does seem like that fan would be a bit suffocated in the front.
Yeah, I don't know how much of a gap there is between that
I don't know.
the bracket and the
Oh.
front of the case.
Make it work hard. What can I say? So it does pretty well in terms of ambient noise temperature. Ambient temperatures above ambient, and then noise levels. Those are 2 separate readings. But at $59 is pretty awesome, right? Weaknesses including the 3.5-inch hard drive support is limited to 1 bay. So if you're looking to do RAID, in that you're kind of out of luck. And no case fans included, Alan. In case you were curious.
Yeah, well, that's how you get that well priced.
Hopefully, if you buy that case, you don't go buy what are the brown?
Noctua.
You don't just get a bunch of Noctua brown on brown.
Costs more than the case.
fans. Yeah, close to it. Tempered glass side panel, tool-free enclosure, intelligent cable routing, clean, attractive style, low cost for a case of this quality. So there you go. $65 for the white one, $69, $70 for the black one. So a good deal all around. Check out his review if you're interested in that. Let's next move on. Talk with Ken if we have to.
Oh no!
Look,
Hey,
I
it's
didn't
a
want to
cool
do it,
thing.
but this is what it came to. We posted a story called "Console Frame Rating: Measuring Performance of the New Xbox One X," and this came about. Well, the new console came out, and it's a pretty powerful machine. And it's one of those things that every time a game console launches, we've always been curious about, like, what is the performance level? How does it compare to the PC? How does it compare to previous consoles? And there's always a ton of question marks about how you evaluate performance, how you measure image quality, those types of things.
Can't exactly install fraps.
Right. Can't run fraps on it. We can't run our normal overlay that we do on PC games for our frame rating system. But Ken did discover an open source project. What was it called, Ken?
Teardrop.
Yeah, so it's TR Drop is the name, but it's pronounced. I think for first couple days we called it Teardrop, and then somebody went, "No, dummies, it's Teardrop."
I was just calling it Teardrop.
It's a play on.
You're looking.
Teardrop,
the logo has a tear in it.
I didn't look at the logo.
I
with a
understand.
tear.
That's true. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Oh my God, which one is
and
it?
Drops,
I know,
tears
right?
and drops.
Weird. So basically, what this allows you to do, Ken, go ahead and you explain it. What does this software allow us to do?
So this software it's an open source piece of software that runs, I think, only currently on Windows, and it takes in a video file of capture, so just plain capture from a capture card hooked up to a console or PC or anything like that, and it uses OpenCV, the computer vision libraries, to analyze if there are differences between one frame to the next frame to determine what frame rate it's running at, if there are any drops, any tears, any sort of hitches like that.
It's actually a really simple idea to think about.
It's very difficult in implementation.
But very difficult to implement, without a lot of knowledge about what you're talking about, right? So you're basically, if I could look at every pixel on the frame very quickly,
you should be able to know when they change.
And then look at the next frame and see how many pixels changed relative. Like, okay, now I can assume this is a new frame or not, right? Mm-hmm. Or was there a tear? Did the top third of it change or not change? No, wait, it would be the top third of it change and the bottom third of it not change. Okay, we had a tear.
Yep.
Right? Something like that. Which is, it's not a simple task, but
simple in concept, not necessarily in execution.
Yeah. And it requires a lot of compute, right?
Yeah,
like this
isn't exactly
takes a lot.
Fast running program.
Right. So what we do is we were capturing gameplay out of these consoles through an HDMI capture card, right? And we were recording these raw files. How big were they per run? Probably 20.
Depending on the resolution.
Yeah, I mean, we're doing 1080p 60, so they're like 18 gig files.
Yeah, 18 gigabyte
for a minute.
For a minute.
Yeah, for 60 seconds.
Yeah. And then we run them through this application, and you could do cool things like run one of them, run two for side by side, up to.
You can do up to three.
Yep. There's a bunch of different configurations.
And it does it does kind of the heavy lifting of, like, it draws it on the screen. You get to see all these comparisons. It's really cool. So,
I mean, honestly, if anyone's ever looked at the Digital Foundry videos of where they do analysis of console games, it's very similar.
Yep.
They're using software they've developed that does a lot of this stuff, using probably pretty similar methods, but this is an open source project that's just put out there. Yeah. Community can mess with it, improve upon it.
Yeah, the Digital Foundry guys have been doing it for a really long time. They do it better than we do. They're very good at it. They analyze a lot of games, a lot of different stuff. But at the end of the day, it's a very straightforward mental leap to make.
Yeah.
To go, how do I analyze this and know what frame rates are going? Now, we'd even gone into whole things like pixel counting and how do you know if this 1080p thing is actually being rendered at 900p and then scaled up. Different discussion. Maybe another day, maybe never in my lifetime. I'm not really sure. Now, what we did with this was we compared the Xbox One S, the Xbox One X, PS4, PS4 Pro, and you can kind of see in this table that we put together how these, in theory, compare computationally. And the Xbox One X is by far the most powerful system, right? The PS4 Pro still has a pretty good leg up over the PS4. But the Xbox One X goes, another almost 50%, 40% on top of that in terms of its GPU compute in teraflops, right? And then much higher memory bandwidth, all that type of stuff. So what we have is we have some screenshots here. We have a video. This obviously makes more sense if you watch it in real time in the video. But what was the kind of takeaway? We only looked at 3 games. We're just kind of getting our feet wet into this. What was the takeaway from those 3 titles?
It was pretty much along what you would expect. So the PS4 at 1080p 60 was able to generally deliver a more solid 60 FPS over the Xbox One, the original Xbox One, which is what we've seen with a lot of game titles. So the Xbox One has been kind of known to struggle to do 1080p 30 and taking a lot of dynamic resolution tricks, rendering at 900p and stuff like that, and has generally been determined as weaker than the PS4.
Right.
Even if you just look at the raw specs, you can pretty much come up with that conclusion. However, when you look at the PS4 Pro versus the Xbox One X, that story changes by a significant amount.
Yeah.
So if we take a look at Hitman as an example, this is actually the best performance case we found because Hitman has a PS4 Pro patch and an Xbox One X patch, so it's optimized by the developers. And it also has an option for unlocked frame rate. So you can set it into a mode where it won't force to 30 or 60. And that means we can tell actual relative performance between the two consoles. So
yeah, it's hard. It's not showing up very well in our capture because we're only capturing a small portion of the window here, and we're cutting off the top of it apparently too. But this gives you an idea, and it may not come across in the stream. You should go to the article and look at the YouTube video. But even in the YouTube video, putting it side by side, I don't know if that's more or less effective. Like the PS4 Pro running at about 40 frames per second is more stuttery. Like the Xbox One X is smoother on the right hand side in these videos, right? So it's interesting to see it, and that's something. Honestly, if you put those two videos side by side without any of this teardrop software, you'd be able to tell that there was a difference. But being able to put numerics behind it, I think, actually makes it much more impactful. So, pretty cool stuff.
Yeah. This is kind of a tool we have in our arsenal now to pull out when we want to take a look at this stuff. So I wouldn't necessarily expect us to analyze every console game that comes out.
No.
There are people that are very good at that.
We
enjoy their content.
Not only would I not expect it, I will tell you for certain it will not happen. I will tell you for certain. Yeah. All right, we'll run through these other things real quick too. A keyboard review from Sebastian. The Havit.
Gotta have it.
Havit? I don't really know. HV-KB395L ultra thin RGB mechanical keyboard. It's a thin keyboard with RGB colors. It's got kickstands. It's got USB cable. It is very thin. As you can see,
are they blues or browns? Or they're blues?
Blues.
Do they make it thinner by just like removing the base plate and making it a flimsier design, or is it still pretty solid?
No, it's pretty shallow. The key travel is only 3 millimeters.
Oh, so
it looks like everything is made thinner. Like the keys themselves, the key caps look short, the base looks thinner, and then the travel is 3 millimeters.
I like how you can see the blues. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
Well, I don't think those are cherry blues.
They're not standard blues.
Yeah, I
they
think
are.
They're blues.
Patent expired blues.
Yeah, they're the Kale ones.
Okay. Got it.
They're good switches.
Yeah, they're.
So Sebastian seemed to like it fairly well. It's an $80 keyboard, shallow but clicky experience, very conducive to comfort over long periods with less finger travel, shallower wrist angle. That's actually kind of an interesting benefit to it as well.
Yeah.
Right? Less potential wrist impact. And of course, RGB lighting, although it cannot be controlled via the OS.
How do you control it?
There is nothing yet.
Key presses. Oh, not key presses, I would assume, right?
Yep. They're working on a driver. It's not out yet, but yeah, otherwise you've got to follow the manual and you click this, that, and the other thing to change the patterns.
Right. And then also quickly, Maury posted a review of the Gigabyte AX370 Gaming 5 motherboard. This is for the Ryzen platform, right? People have been asking for more Ryzen motherboard reviews from us. This is a reasonable cost part with $190 MSRP, so way better than some of the, like, say, $500 Threadripper. There's no such thing as Thunderripper that I know of.
That would be a great product name.
The way less than the $500 Threadripper.
I had one of those the other day, and sure enough,
not in public.
Had to go home
pants
early.
have never been the same.
Had to make one of those emergency home visits. I get it. So like I said, this is not a budget board, but it's a reasonable cost board with a lot of features. You got USB 3. Is there 3.1 on here as well? Let me check. Yeah, USB 3.1 Gen 2, 2 of them, 6 USB 3.1 Gen 1, which is USB 3.0, essentially. Lots of other connectivity. You got your 2 gigabit Ethernet ports on it. Lots of other features there. And then I always got to look. Not as good looking a board without the LED, kind of photoshopped in lighting, but that's the case for everything. Slick. I do like the finish on the black PCB around it.
Gigabyte is always good with those matte black PCBs on their boards.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if anything else stands out here. It's still got the
sex ports.
Sex ports.
Yep, 2 of them.
It does have U.2. Yep. Still holding on.
Good. And M.2.
And just a single M.2.
And a single U.2, and you get to choose which one of those 2 you use.
Okay.
Regardless, it won't knock out any SATA ports though, because AMD.
Sure,
that's nice.
Sure. And of course, the giant CPU cooler fit pictures. We've got to have it.
Like we've had one of these boards around the office for a while.
Oh, yeah.
I think we did some of our initial Ryzen 5 testing with this board. I don't know if that's what we use in our review, but
I don't remember.
It's a solid board. I mean, I've used it for a couple of projects. It's kind of everything you'd want.
Does it have SLI support?
I
guess it does. There's an SLI bridge. Never
Can't
mind.
imagine why not.
Yeah.
If it comes with a bridge, probably.
That would be a poor use of resources.
We got some bridges. Throw them in the boxes.
Throw one in there. From an overclocking standpoint, he did get this one up to, memory speed of 3366, which is pretty good for the AMD platforms.
It was supposed to be running
Not
4,000.
fantastic.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Should go up higher with the memory he has, but anything over 3200 is kind of a crapshoot. Because think how long it took. What's his bucket from AMD to kind of tune stuff to get to 3200. Our friend with the plaid and the watches and the bald head.
Yeah, Robert.
Yeah. I mean,
I knew
he
who
worked extensively on that to get settings and BIOS and hardware to be able to do that consistently. And so there's still a learning curve, but still,
right.
If you can get to 3200, you're going to be happy.
I would think
for the most part.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So check out that review.
But specs versus reality. So you gotta.
How expensive is DDR4 4000 memory? With how expensive all DDR4 memory is right now,
extra stupid, not just stupid.
There was a graph that I think was Brad from PC World, PC Mag.
Yeah.
One of the PC websites, damn it, that showed like a 16 gig kit of DDR4 price over the last 8 months or a year, something like that, and it had gone from like $110 to $240 or something like that. Something ridiculous.
No, at when about a year and a half ago, DDR4 of a decent 2400 speed, 16 gigs was like $86.
Yeah.
And now it's 190 to 210. But if you've been watching the sales, they're now starting to chuck them down. So hopefully the memory scare is close to being over and we can see more reasonable prices than what we did about 2 months ago, which was just nuts.
Right.
Yeah.
Fair enough. It is selling for $164.99 on Newegg as the time of this publication. So there you go. The only weakness being that inability to run at 4,000 megahertz. So we'll see if that's something that they can fix over time with BIOSes, or if they even bother going down that route. Sebastian, like I said, busy with these cases. One more to look at real fast. Corsair Crystal Series 460X. If you thought the Inwin was pretty looking, look at this guy.
That's pretty sweet.
And look at the photography.
Also pretty sweet.
Look at that.
It looks like some honeybees set up shop.
It does. This is tempered glass, buddy. More tempered glass.
Wait, is there tempered glass right in front of the fans?
Well, there's a gap.
Pretty big size.
There's a pretty big gap here.
Yeah, there's like a 1 inch gap.
Bigger on a lot of the cases that do that, but it's still a stupid idea.
I mean, hey.
Just perforate that glass, baby.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Oh, it's tempered. Yeah, that'll be easy.
Drill a bunch of tiny holes in the
You
tempered
could just
glass.
punch holes in
Yeah.
it. One big hole, right?
One really big hole.
Are you guys trying to say as a group you can't etch holes into glass?
Oh, you can.
Like as a manufacturing process, you
Oh,
can't
yeah.
put holes in glass?
Totally can.
Sure, yeah.
I bet you not even Josh has something within reach that would actually properly punch holes in it, though. Like, that
I'm
might
not
be
saying
something I'd have to
us,
get up
I'm
for.
saying them.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a full
Do you know
size.
how much more expensive that would be
Would it be?
and time
Oh, yeah.
consuming?
Pass the costs on to Sebastian. It's fine.
Yeah. He'll pay the money.
Look at that. Look at those LED fans. So this is much more. This is a little more expensive. It's got more glass on it. $130. $130 for the case. The Crystal 460X. What's the one that we have behind you over there? Which one is that?
It's the bigger one. It's the 570.
But it's also all
It's
all
it's
glass.
literally just the bigger version of this.
Okay. Yeah. I'm really eager to try to get those Star Wars cards in there at some point.
Yeah, I've got a build with a lot of RGB destined for that case.
So
right
much
now.
RGB.
Yeah.
It's going to be pretty
obnoxious.
amazing, guys. It's going to be amazing. So check out his review. This is the Corsair Crystal 460X. I think we've talked about cases enough for this episode. Let me look down the list. There's no more cases on there, are there? I'm going to skip them if there are. Let's move on to the next stuff. Scott posted this up. Jeremy, do you know anything about the rumored Core i7 9700K? Because, I mean, the 8700 has been out for at least 3 weeks. It's time to move on. Past
It's
it.
true. And the coffee is getting stale, so we need to refresh it.
True.
Yeah. Is it going to require a new platform too?
But the fun part is Firefox just crashed on me, so I don't even have the webpage open at the
If I
moment.
ask that question and Ryan stutters in his answer,
I don't know.
then,
Yeah. So the big news, if true, would be that Intel's planning on elevating the top-end mainstream processor to 8 cores, 16 threads. So even over better than, 2 more than the Coffee Lake parts we saw just a couple of months ago, where we went from 4 to 6. The rumor has been that this would be another new motherboard, I think, right?
390.
The 390
Yeah.
chipset.
And the rumor is that it won't be compatible with 370.
of course.
Wait, what won't
That
be?
the 8 cores won't be compatible with 370.
Right. Well, if they're releasing a new chipset, I would assume that would be because the processors wouldn't be backwards
I think they're
compatible. My
releasing
question
a
would
new
be, are they
chipset.
could you use an 8700K in a 390 board?
Probably. I think they're releasing, in theory, would release 390 for additional chipset features because 370 didn't really bring any of those over 270. So
They didn't.
we would be due for additional features, but
Well, let me posit this.
Please pause it.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
It's going to be a different socket, and you're going to have more PCIe lanes.
Be a smart move for him.
I'd be good
Hopefully.
with that.
But how many more? Like 4
At least
more?
up to Ryzen levels from 16 to 24.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, that would make
And have
sense.
the chipset with the extra.
Chipsets on the Intel processors use DMI.
I know.
They're dedicated,
I'm
right?
with
So
you.
they're not included in that count.
I know.
So then what's the question?
But if you already had,
It's just die space. It's just pins.
yeah, I guess.
If AMD can do it with Ryzen, Intel can do it with Core,
Sure.
right?
And not only that, but Intel likes to swap sockets. They got no problem with that.
This is true.
The other question is, when they went from the 7700 to the 8700, they did it without increasing the core-to-core latency. In other words, they went from 4 to 6
So
cores.
we're still a ring bus.
We'll keep it with the ring bus. So are they going to keep with the ring bus here?
I would imagine.
Well, I don't
Wait,
know.
is-
All their other stuff is mesh now.
But all their other stuff is more than 8 cores.
True.
Like they've done 8 cores on a ring bus before without problem.
They
Yeah,
have.
yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
So the current 6 core is a ring bus, and the current 10 plus is mesh.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 Inside source tells me the 9700K must be watching live is not a rumor. It is in fact a real part. But Intel could do an 8900K in the same socket if they wanted to.
Which would also
Wait,
be an
8900?
8900K
Yeah, but they're
would
not
be
going
the
to do
same core count.
Why would they do that when they can just get people to buy their new platform?
That is
Well,
a
'cause-
legitimate question.
Because no one will have bought the 370 platform because you can't buy processors.
Yeah, that's
Might
true.
as
When we
well.
were building our gift guide, I wanted to put the 8700K on there if it were near its retail price. But not only was it not
almost-
near its retail price, it wasn't available.
It's almost like the Broadwell desktop launch. Remember that?
It's not. Those never came out.
No, they did. They did come out. They absolutely came out.
Those never
Yeah, they came out.
hit like
Yeah, you could get the CPUs on eBay.
maybe.
No,
and that's about
you
it.
could buy
Nah.
the 5775C
But I
on
bet,
Newegg.
but it was months later
Well,
that you
yeah.
could do it. And like at launch, quote unquote launch, there was nothing. Right? At least at here, there was some available at launch. It seemed
For
like
$500
it. And
from
were
Micro
there
Center.
were there ever Broadwell like
It
retail
used a
packages,
chipset.
or was it all OEM parts?
Nah,
I don't remember that. I don't remember, to be honest with you.
I don't know.
So it feels like two things. One, it feels like Intel has no idea what the hell they actually want to do. If this is actually true, and a secondary source now telling me it's absolutely true, I don't know, but did they give a time frame for this as well? Like second half 2018? Yeah. Man, that's a lot of sockets and a lot of motherboards and a lot of processors to release in a really short window of time.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, I
what.
wonder if Newegg will
Intel just
create
gets bored
kind of
of
an
one
internal.
socket.
All right, stop.
One at a time.
Jeebus.
Sorry. Go ahead, Jeremy.
I was just going to comment that Intel gets bored with a socket really quickly nowadays. As it gets older, it needs a fresh one to keep it occupied.
Oh, I see.
I mean, they haven't they've stuck to the same pattern of how long a socket has been around until Z3 or X370. Really, you get two processors out of a socket,
Z370.
and that's it. Z370.
Did you say X370?
Yeah.
Probably.
It's a different platform.
Yeah, weird,
So
huh?
you're talking about the process revision upgrade.
Yeah.
Not the actual.
I'm talking how you had a
architecture change.
6700K and a 7700K
Mhm.
that use the same socket and the same motherboards.
Okay.
It's been that way for quite a while with Intel. Now they're starting to screw stuff up.
Okay. Yeah. So this is what.
And I
this would be
wonder if Nvidia, not Nvidia, but Newegg and Amazon guys, like if you put in your shopping basket a processor and then a motherboard that is not compatible, do you get a warning
No,
for that?
you don't.
That's unfortunate because
If you go to someplace like
Anymore-
PC Part Picker, they do
That'll
that. They
tell
do
you.
that, right? Like if you add a 7700K and a Z370 board, it's going to tell you these won't
If you
work.
add a 7700K, it won't let you pick a Z370 board unless you turn off the compatibility
Oh,
filter
okay.
by default.
But like Newegg and Amazon, definitely not Amazon, but Newegg doesn't have that capability either. And it should at least warn you, right? But it's kind of not their job, but I bet they really, really, really don't want to deal with an RMA either.
Well, Newegg charges restocking on everything, so
Do they really?
I'm pretty sure they do
Yeah, I think so.
at this point.
No, like
This is why
Yeah.
Amazon's
Unless
playing the
it's-
floor with them.
Unless it's like a defective part,
sure.
DOA.
Right.
Then I don't think they do.
Yeah. I don't know. So there's some great news for you. Hey, if you want, like AMD is going to have their revision of Ryzen come out sometime next year.
Mhm.
Everything indicates, in the first half of next year. What that actually adds, are they going to add more cores? Are they just going to add more frequency? I have no idea. I haven't really heard much about it. I haven't paid attention.
There's been a lot of different rumors on it. Like some people said it's going to be 6 cores, core complex. I've heard 8. I've heard the rumor it's going to be 5 gigahertz on 7 nanometer. It's
Nope.
Like, no.
No, it's going to be at most a 12 nanometer part. That is the kind of refresh that Global Foundry and Samsung has done.
The
But-
12 nanometer.
But you're going to get probably better power and better clock speed, but don't expect your CCXs to increase their core counts.
So you think it's basically just going to be a refresh and a process optimization at
Yeah.
best.
Yeah, I mean you may get a max of 4.2 to 4.4 gigahertz
That's a
as
pretty good
compared
upgrade.
to 4.0 now. I mean it's okay. It's not
Yeah.
great, but it's okay. There may be some other tweaks architecturally to decrease some of the internal latencies of some of the execution.
Maybe some memory
units.
controller changes.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, who knows?
That'd be nice.
But it would be nice to see. And I mean, they've had some time to do the work. And I mean, if you think about what Bulldozer to Pile Driver did, that was
Yeah.
a lot of people kind of poo-pooed it, but that was a significant jump, and it kept AMD in the game because Bulldozer was crap.
So Cannon Lake, which would be those new sockets, looks like June-ish time frame for 390. And AMD is looking more like March for its refresh. So
Just pulling this out of nowhere.
maybe. Yeah, I'm just making it up as I go.
Okay.
Wink.
Totally making
Exclusive
Say
information
March or
here
Smarch?
only. I said March.
Just don't buy an 8700K.
Yeah, basically.
You know, what are you gonna do?
Unless you get a hell of a deal.
You're not going to, though.
Well,
But you won't at the rate
like
it's
the
going,
Threadripper. Well, we'll get to it in the other stuff. Let's move on. Samsung ZNAND SSD was kind of a
We're just gonna
You're
skip the Vega.
It's not in my. I mean, yeah, in general.
skipping.
Hold on. Nope, I won't skip it. I just need to go back. I didn't see it. Okay,
It's in
here we go.
there.
There we
Power
go.
Color teases custom RX Vega 64 Red Devil.
Nice looking card, but like how many like
The answer is 0. They will sell. No, it's a non-zero number that will be very low.
Yeah.
yeah.
Because
I saw some
again,
reviews come
people
out
like
of this
triple slots.
today.
yeah,
It's a fine Vega 64 card, but I mean it still doesn't beat a 1080.
Right. That's my
yeah.
point.
My guess is like it doesn't overclock much better than the
Yeah.
other cards we've seen already. Whose review was it? Do you know?
Guru 3D maybe?
Okay.
In other words, it doesn't benefit from the added cooling. Like it just,
That's.
No.
But that's been the case for the Nvidia cards for a while,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
And like they don't really benefit that much.
yeah. I mean it'll
From
be
it?
quieter, I'm sure.
Correct.
Right? You
Well,
know.
you're not sure, but it should be.
I mean it should be.
should be.
You know.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
There have been cards with insane looking coolers on them where the cooler was just horrible in performance.
I mean I don't
It's
remember
happened.
specifics, but this card is likely going to be quieter than a reference.
Oh sure,
Lower
the reference.
design.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
It's not like there's a plethora of custom Vega cards to buy. In fact, I
True,
don't know if
or
you
any.
can purchase any.
We could talk about that in our picks of the week holiday guide
Oh, okay,
part as
okay.
well. So there you go. Now we'll move on to our there it is. Samsung ZNAND, kind of their what they have themselves said competition to 3D Crosspoint, right? Like they've said that this
Yes.
is like, hey, you're not the only guys doing something
Yeah, 2 years
unique in
ago,
the
at
enterprise
Flash Memory
space.
Summit, like right after Intel did a keynote and Crosspoint this, Crosspoint that, Optane this, and then Samsung was like, "Oh yeah, ZNAND," and they dropped that. Right?
ZNAND.
That was like a couple of years ago. But the
This is
thing-
our first product that
this
we've
is
seen.
an
based
actual
on it.
product, right? Now, ZNAND is supposedly already on 2nd generation, but this product is using 1st generation. In other words,
Well, hold on. What you mean by that is Samsung is developing the 2nd generation of the technology.
yes.
This is the productization of the 1st generation
Yes.
of the technology. Got
And
it.
the 1st generation is supposedly SLC that's Flash-like media.
Okay.
It works like Flash.
Okay.
It has cells,
Yep.
store electrons. It's not like phase change,
Right.
right?
But they have not talked about what makes it different really yet.
They haven't really detailed like what makes it so much faster. And that is
Faster
the
in what
advantage
way?
to this. It's very low latency flash memory. Now,
12 to 20 microsecond random read is
yeah,
the stuff there.
which is significantly faster. Like
That's within spitting distance of the less than 10 microseconds of Optane
it is.
for what Intel claims.
It is. It gets pretty close. And like in comparison, Samsung like 960 Pro is like 60 or 70.
Oh, okay. Okay, so this is a significant drop
Yeah.
in read
In read
latency.
latencies. Yeah. So I put a chart. If you scroll down a little bit, I did like a simple comparison of like here's your hard drives and your NAND and your, the ranges of those items
Right.
versus like where this SZ985 sits compared to a
Yeah.
P4800X. Realize a 900P is basically identical to a P4800X in this respect if you're trying to compare it to consumer stuff. So that might actually get them some like wins as far as companies trying to buy this product as opposed to Optane, because to get the full performance out of Optane, you have to do a list of tweaks
Right.
to a server. You have to turn off C states. You have to potentially turn off P states. You have to like basically just run the thing full tilt with no possibility of clocking down, because the latency of just trying to speed back up negatively impacts the latency of the Optane
Sure.
part. You diminish, you lose some of your gain that you were going to get. Whereas the Samsung part actually operates in more of a sweet spot. Like if you were just running a Windows server, just doing regular interrupts and not doing polling to the storage, like this device is running in the range where you would see most of the benefit that you can under that platform,
Got it.
right? You're not so fast that you start losing benefits because of the platform limitations, right?
Sure.
So, cool stuff there. But again, they're trying to market this to server stuff. Obviously, you're not going to be able to buy this. And the bigger point that I want to make about a Samsung Enterprise, NVMe part in general is that every other Samsung NAND-based part to come out that was like an Enterprise NVMe thing, we've never seen samples. There's probably you could probably count on one hand how many companies have done purchase orders of these things from Samsung.
Well, we don't know that.
It's an extremely small subset. It's not that it's a tiny market. It's just like these are large orders, I'm sure, that are coming from these companies.
Oh,
it's
right.
Samsung only chooses to deal with an extremely small amount of companies when they're dealing with these enterprise parts. So, I mean, what that means for adoption, I don't know. Intel looks like they're willing to sell a P4800X to anybody that wants to buy the thing.
And they've not launched a consumer variant in the 900p.
And they have launched.
Right.
Yeah. Like there's...
Has Samsung said anything about launching this to consumers?
No
interest in that? Or no stated interest in that, I guess?
They haven't said anything even close to that. Their focus on this seems to be that, like, look, we want to make a low latency thing. We want to make it for cheaper than other people can make theirs for.
Yep.
This device is probably not going to be there because it's using the first generation ZNAND. The second generation stuff, which actually there's did I put that slide in there? Yeah, there's a slide.
This one?
In that article. They were trying to make it cheaper to produce, which is why the second generation stuff is actually doing like MLC instead of SLC. So that gives you 100% gain in how much capacity per die, right? But they were trying to do that while keeping the latency low. So you notice they actually take a latency hit to move to the second generation in that chart. It's slightly longer read latency, but still nowhere near, VNAND, regular consumer VNAND read latency.
Yeah.
So again, we don't know exactly what tricks they're doing, but I mean, they own that process from front to back. So presumably you can do some kind of architectural changes in how the flash is, communicated with or read or...
It sounds really interesting. I would love to get some detail on what they're actually doing.
Yeah,
I don't feel like that's something we'll ever get.
No, not yet.
Especially if it's not something that's going to ever see a consumer or workstation release.
Yeah, we might get more detail from Samsung, like say at CES. They might talk more about this. Well, they're going to probably do some product releases around CES, I'm guessing, because they haven't had a summit.
Mm-hmm.
And they were already
I just
past...
don't see this being detailed there.
I mean, I don't know. There might be something in there. But my point is, even if they do give detail on the product, more than has already come out, because they, there was a white paper with or spec sheet and stuff.
Yeah.
Even if they gave more detail, none of us are going to get to test it. And you're not going to be able to buy it.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, yeah, probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Not yet. 5 years in the future,
Agreed.
maybe they'll get to a point where this is something then a thing you buy.
Cool stuff. Maybe. One day. We don't know. We'll see. Allied Control showing off immersion cooling at Supercomputing 17. I feel like this is something we talked about. We must have just talked about it in the office a little bit or something.
Yeah.
It's not super new.
Well, maybe
don't
you remember?
It may be stuck in your
QuakeCon?
Yeah, QuakeCon. That's what's stuck in your head.
No, I mean, I thought we talked about this recently.
We did talk about this in the office.
Yeah, but I think it was just in the office, not on the podcast or whatever. I love seeing boiling water, which is essentially what this looks like.
Coming off of a motherboard.
Yeah, and the QuakeCon stuff, I do remember that was very cool.
Yeah.
Wait,
it's not water.
BitFury bought this company?
Who did?
I don't know.
That's what it says in the article. BitFury bought Allied Control. Mm-hmm. BitFury makes crypto mining ASICs.
Bitcoin mining ASICs.
Yep. And considering the liquid probably costs about $100 a liter.
Well, now that Bitcoin's involved, it's going to be $300 a liter. Jesus. So what's cool about this? What am I looking at? So this is just basically...
I see what you did there.
Thank you. What am I looking at? Somebody explain what the hell I'm seeing.
Phase change.
Boiling water. Yeah, I got it.
So, okay, anyway, it takes a lot more energy to do phase change, and so it kind of absorbs that, and you're better off. Now, you've got to have some kind of thing to cool the vapor that comes off so it, goes back down. Otherwise, you'd be doing 100% loss of liquid.
Which I'm not sure where that is in this demo.
It's out of the shot. It's right there.
There it is.
In that demo.
Is it the silver thing?
It's near.
That's the copper things in the back.
Yeah.
I see.
There's cooling coils at the very top. They're just out of the frame.
Yeah. But yeah,
this will be hermetically sealed, so it's not losing anything.
Electrical conducting fluid and its boiling point is at the point right at the point where these processors are kind of at their best overall efficiency.
Okay.
I mean, it could be better efficiency with lower, but you kind of have to do some trade-offs with thermodynamics and the chemical properties.
Is it inert?
How do you do what?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's-
Yeah,
So,
it's an
like,
inert liquid.
But I'm trying to figure out, like, can you just plug a DisplayPort cable in?
Yeah.
To the, okay.
Yeah,
all
it's
right.
not. It's not conductive. Like that's.
And
just-
actually, if you look up there, you can see the Wi-Fi dongle with the green light flashing up there in the corner too. Bluetooth would not work very well in this. Just a heads
just
up.
the antenna was.
Bluetooth does not go through water very well. I don't know about Wi-Fi, but I know Bluetooth does
Well,
not.
the antenna. They have the back of what would be the back of the system is near the top. So if there were any of those antennas, they'd be
They could
above
extend
the
them out.
surface of the
Well,
water.
if you look in the video, there's like a
Little
green
Bluetooth
one that's
thing.
flashing right here.
Oh yeah.
I think
It's
that's
right
a
at the
Wi-Fi
surface of the
dongle.
water, like,
Yeah,
that should
yeah,
work.
yeah.
Well, I keep saying water, but it's not.
Don't drink it. So this is $100 a liter. This is probably not like practical for my
expensive.
desktop PC.
Yeah, not practical.
It would be really cool though.
Every time I see something like this, it reminds me of
Nope.
the movie The Abyss, right, where they breathe the liquid, and I'm like
there
floor
was a
nerd.
guy. There was a guy at QuakeCon that did this, and he had his GPU on a ribbon on an angle. Basically, he did everything he could to make the system as thin as possible.
Mhm.
In other words, this is a huge, tank.
Yeah.
A lot of wasted volume.
There's a lot
Yeah,
of wasted
yeah.
volume in there. But if you can have
But
your
do-
GPU sideways,
But the thing about that is you've got a lot of thermal density with a larger amount of volume. And when
Right, I
you're
was gonna
dealing
say.
with
well, that's true too.
7 GPUs and a high-end processor, you're going to be utilizing that.
I assume the more
Yeah.
fluid in
Density.
there, the more cooling capacity the whole system has, right?
It's,
Yes.
it's not relevant. It's not relevant here because
Dude, that's Newtonian physics.
no, it's not relevant because the entire volume of that water is right at the
or maybe
flash point.
Fahrenheit.
If
Josh,
if
you
you're
still have to be able to. You have to change it back.
Yeah, you have to change it back. You have to be able to remove the heat to recondense.
That's true.
The liquid.
But how many other parts in that machine are not causing the phase change, but are increasing the overall heat of the environment?
Oh, sure. But
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
here's my point. That
And so the more volume you have, the greater the thermal density, and the better cooling you're going to have.
yes, but
Right.
just by the fact that you have bubbles coming off of all those parts, and the bubbles are not collapsing before
You
they
know
hit
what?
the surface.
When I'm in the bathtub and I got
Those
Hey,
are
we
different
got
bubbles.
footage of that.
Those are different bubbles.
Tiny bubbles.
Yeah. So if the liquid if the rest of that liquid was much cooler than the parts that are boiling off the liquid,
Yeah.
the bubbles would collapse before they got to the surface. Take it from reactor.
Now, you can't really
guys.
tell from this video,
get
but
pretty
that is
stable
the amount of
temperature after running
time
for a
those
while.
bubbles are there and the distance. Damn it!
I'm gonna put up
You're
a
trying
light for you
to
guys.
do down a complex environment into. Never mind.
Yes.
Let's move on.
It bubbles
shall we?
and it cools down.
Yes.
I like it. Thanks, Nick Knupfer, for the video. We liked that video. All right. So we're not going to do picks of the week, despite the fact that they're on the rundown. Instead, we're going to walk through real quick a couple of our highlights of our gift guide on the components section. By the way, I do think this image here is actually pretty cool. If somebody has those keycaps for me, that'd be great. And if you hit the red one, it just randomly orders something from Amazon.
You don't need a keyboard button that
Sweet,
does
that
that.
would
You
be
do that
good.
already.
So actually, I'm going to click this link because I don't know if it's the same price anymore.
Probably not.
It is. Okay.
Oh.
The Threadripper 1950X is $799 currently, right? So $200 off of its launch price.
Uh-huh.
It's 20%.
It's a significant amount. And you can get $70 more if you get approved for the Amazon Prime Rewards Visa card. Don't do that. So the top end multi-threaded processor, $799, great deal there. If you're looking to buy into a high-end system, 7700K is down to $287, which is pretty impressive. Even though this is the quad-core part, only 4
That's what's
cores,
in my home
hyper-threaded.
system. I got
I
some
wanted
deal
to
at
pick the
Micro Center a while
8700
back.
for this, but you couldn't find it.
Yeah, it's true.
It wasn't available.
Yeah, can't recommend it if you can't buy the damn thing.
Ryzen 7 1700 is great at $269, and probably better than the 7700K
Depending on what you're doing.
if you're doing multi-threaded
Yeah.
specific stuff, if that's what you're worried about.
Yep.
Maury's got a handful of motherboards in there. ROG Strix Z270, MSI X299 Gaming M7 motherboard, which is, there. There's the Aorus AX370 Gaming 5 motherboard we talked about earlier. That's on the list. And the X3099, we've got the ROG Zenith Extreme Threadripper board. Holy jeebs, that's still impressive.
One
looking.
of these sockets is not like the other.
Yeah, no joke. No kidding. For graphics cards, I wanted, as I wrote here, I was tempted to leave this section blank with a middle finger picture.
Yeah.
Because once again, like, cards are really hard to find.
That one's actually
priced,
out of stock.
Is it? Cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
The 1070 Ti Turbo from Asus was $449, which is actual MSRP. I was really excited to add it to it. It's apparently gone. And then the 1080 Amp was $549.
I didn't check that one.
Just tell me what that one is. And then the RX 580.
It's definitely not that price anymore.
Definitely not that.
Went through the roof.
The amp looks like it's sold out and used from $669.
Cool.
Story, bro.
Don't worry about the RX 580. You can't buy that one either.
Yeah.
But we did find the 850 Evo. This is a SATA drive, 500 gigs, $140.
I think that's still going for that.
149 right now.
Oh, yeah. It went up a little.
But it's still not bad.
That's still a good price for a drive.
Yeah, I think so. So as we go through my picks, what are the ones that stand out? This Jabra headset is nice.
If you're doing
voice calls only. What'd you say?
Doing telecommuting.
It's not for gaming. Like, it's not good audio to your ears, but it's good audio from your mouth, right? Relative for a small mic that's portable, and it's $48. There's screwdrivers here because everybody in this office loses screwdrivers, so I bought a handful of these.
I know not of what you speak.
Yeah, right.
I don't lose anything ever.
And then I think this was my pick of the week a few weeks ago, the Star Wars from a certain point of view. And then this one came up in my feed recently that I bought, Blood, Sweat, and Pixels, some stories behind how video games are made. So it's pretty good. And then I also had the Logitech G810, which is actually like a year-old keyboard. This used to be $150. Now it's $80.
That's good.
And it's the Romer G keys, so it's a little bit different than some people are used to, but I actually really like it a lot, and I still use Romer G keys throughout this office, really, for me personally. RGB gaming, but not like, this is when they got away from the G910 super space futuristic design and just something more straightforward and simple, but still, I think, pretty neat looking. Can any of yours stand out you want to mention?
My unofficial pick, which I put in there, is buy an LG OLED set because this is the cheapest they'll be for 12 months.
Yeah.
So do that now.
An LG OLED TV. Yeah.
But I realized I hadn't bought a lot of tech this year, so I went with some more picks that people might enjoy.
Sure.
Definitely have an instant read thermometer if you want to do any sort of cooking.
Or stab somebody and see what their temperature is.
You have no idea how much you're going to use it until you have one and have one ready. Just check the temperature of everything. Don't overcook that chicken. Yeah. Dry it out.
Does that fold in?
Yeah, it folds in.
Okay. All right. It doesn't just sit in your drawer
ready to stab
with the blade, with the needle point sticking out. All right.
Folds in.
Hey, if you
completely
gotta take
waterproof.
someone's temperature in a hurry.
Exactly. It would instantly read it. Available in a wide variety of colors.
Seem like you got a
Patient
fever,
also
Alan.
seems distressed.
Yeah. Well,
it's like your heart rate's going up now too. That's weird.
Does it read your heart rate? Or can you just guess what happens after you stab a person with it?
You got a Blu-ray here for physical media. Josh is going to love it.
So if you do buy that 4K TV with HDR,
there you go.
pick up Planet Earth 2. You obviously need a 4K Blu-ray player, but the Xbox One S has been under $200 on sale recently.
Yeah.
Which is pretty good. And you get a game console out of it that you can do some stuff with. And, it's a pretty good deal. And Planet Earth 2 is amazing looking.
Yes. I would recommend
it's
both.
Absolutely fantastic. It is the perfect piece of content to demo 4K and HDR. And then why not get a fancy stainless steel thermos from Japan? That works really well, and you can open with one hand. So if you're driving or something, you can open it with one hand, pick it up, open it with one hand.
How much is it?
Like $26.
One of those vacuum ones?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Double wall vacuum thermos.
Does it keep things hot and cold things cold?
Absolutely.
Those things used to be really, really expensive.
Technology. All right, Alan, what do you got?
So I don't know if the price has held, but Elgato Cam Link.
Nope, $30 more.
Oh, damn.
Free one-day shipping though.
Back to MSRP.
Yeah, it's back to MSRP. So these things used to be like $300 not too long ago. for HDMI to USB 3 in some way that you can use it as a webcam if you wanted to, or you basically import the video into anything.
So basically, there's a chip in here that takes HDMI source, turns it into essentially emulating a basic generic webcam.
Yes.
What's
the actual name of that, Ken? There was a name you said. It was some acronym of the type of device that it shows up as.
A webcam?
WEB cam.
It was different.
No, it literally just shows up under the webcam.
Oh yes, I agree, but it's like it conforms to some standard that just,
got it.
So the reason I got this is if I'm traveling and need to Skype in for a podcast or something, don't want to have to deal with the look up your nose mic in the laptop or the look up your nose webcam in the laptop, or the really just generally crappy webcam, and I'll usually have my camera with me. It'd be handy to just be able to use the camera as a webcam. So that's what a lot of people do with these things. They'll have an SLR, they want to have a webcam style input. You just use this thing to do it.
Sure. Yeah. Handy to have.
Other people might want to capture, they're playing games on an Xbox. They want to be able to capture it. You can capture the HDMI.
That's true. Does it do 1080p?
1080p
60?
Yep.
Yeah. And then I guess whatever would normally be able to capture that would be able to capture it.
Yeah. Yeah, basically.
I think that's a waste to send it to Skype, probably, but
I don't know if it does 4K 30.
No.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's just.
I think they would advertise that if it did. And then your other one is the webcam to go with the dongle.
Yeah, the very expensive webcam.
This was your pick.
I made that pick like a few weeks ago. Yeah. So you can just.
All right. Oh, Sony RX10
Mark IV. And I also at the bottom of that pick I said, hey, by the way, like the RX10 Mark III is $500 cheaper. That camera.
That's probably a better idea.
And probably if you're okay with eBay, there's probably some folks that upgraded, like myself, and are might be putting the Mark III on the market. Keep it.
Wink.
There's still nothing wrong with that camera. It's just a little bit slower and doesn't have phase detect.
Don't even get me started about Sony's camera selling practices. They keep the old models in the market. So you can buy the RX10 Mark 1, 2, 3, and 4 all at if you walk into Best Buy.
Do you think they're still manufacturing them, or did they just make too many and now they're on a shelf?
It kind of seems like they might still have to be at some point, because you can still get a lot of these old cameras.
What you have to realize is the Mark 1 and 2 is a different model than the 3 and 4.
Exactly.
It's a different
lens.
Make
it nice and easy on the consumers.
Yeah.
You can buy them all currently.
Yeah.
For different price points.
Oh, so it's not just that it allows lousy sensor and they downbinned it.
No.
This is a 1.
Yeah, and which sucks, because if you want the type of lens that's on the Mark II, you're basically stuck with a 2.5-year-old camera technology, because even though that lens would work on the new ones, but it doesn't work that way, right?
All right, Josh.
Me. Shocking.
Shocking that it's a racing well.
I'm finishing up the review on this one, and it really is the best for the price racing wheel and base that I have used.
350
it's
for a
about
professional.
as powerful as the Fanatec CSL Elite, but it's far more sensitive and subtle in its feedback than the previously mentioned CSL. But it was originally, I think, a $530 product, and now you can get it for $349. So that's a pretty significant decrease in price. And for what you get, you're going to probably have this thing for quite some time. It's going to be well supported, and I think it still is $349 on Amazon. But it's a fantastic piece of kit if you like to do racing.
Very cool. What else you got?
I don't know. Scroll down.
I think you made this a pick before too, though.
Previously, but yeah, right now it's above $75. But these go on sale quite often.
Yeah.
And the thing about pressure cookers is pressure cookers used to be really dangerous. If you were brave, Google pressure cooker accidents, and you'll see what improperly used pressure cookers will do to you. This has a bunch of safety features in there
filled with nails
that you should not have these kind of accidents. It's got all kinds of pre-programmed things for, stew, rice, cake, cheesecake, for God's sakes. Everything you could possibly do with the pressure cooker. There's tons of recipes out there. And if you can get it on sale again for $75, that is an awesome deal.
All right.
Next. Yeah, you got to have storage.
SSD.
249 is still pretty high. I mean, we've seen it lower.
Yeah.
Previously.
$3
I think I
lower?
bought mine for 200
Yeah, but
over the
no,
summer.
I'm talking about like 226 back in Q2.
Oh, okay.
I think I bought mine for 200.
they've gone up in price, but you know what? If you've never experienced NVMe, you need to do so because it's amazing.
As they say, once you go NVMe,
yeah, then you'll never go something.
yeah, I got nothing.
Yeah. And my last and final pick. This thing is bulletproof. I may have done this some
Do
time
not take that
ago,
literally.
maybe
Do
like
not
10
wear
years
as
ago.
a vest.
But I've had this same keyboard for 10 years. And it
Gross.
still works. And it still feels good.
Gross.
And it's only $43.
Yeah.
It's got all kinds
We
of
have a
functionality.
ton of Logitech keyboards here that I feel like we've had for 5 years or more. Those wireless kits.
They still work.
And they still work. I mean, we're also not like writing books on them.
Yeah, it's true.
They're used for testing. So, all right.
But yeah, this is super comfortable and it's a solid build. And, it's been around for ages and it's great.
Also, not really solid gold.
No.
But worth noted. Maury recommends you buy your loved ones SwiftTake Apogee water blocks and colored adapters and GPU water blocks and coolant. Don't buy that for children who might think it's a cool beverage, however.
Don't
Jeremy,
put it in Ken's cooler either.
Yeah, Jeremy, what did you pick?
Well, yeah, I picked up a Roku last year, and I just love the bloody thing because I can unplug it from the TV, haul it anywhere I get to that's got Wi-Fi, and continue watching whatever Netflix or YouTube I was when I left the home. They've upgraded with some new firmware and a brand new bunch of software, which is, at least in the US, offering live TV and a bunch of the extra stuff that we sort of covered when we were talking about Plex.
Yep.
But one of the new models offers 4K support. So if you're picking up Ken's brand new 4K HDR TV, this is a perfect thing to plug into it.
Fair
and
enough.
It's cheap. At $70, it's cheaper than Shield.
That's true. No argument.
Yeah.
Everything
you've
supports
also-
Roku.
I've also got the Logitech webcam C920, a classic but reliable camera.
I mean, that's what we've been using here for how many years now? Like either a
Like
910 or a 920?
I think 100.
I'm convinced there are no other webcams in the world, just the C910 and
This is the only thing
C920s.
that bloody will buy. And considering up here in Canada, they're about $70. I think down in the States, I saw them for 55, 60. It's just don't buy anything else. Like these things are just what a webcam is supposed to do, and it does it perfectly. And as I mentioned, it doesn't come with silly apps that make you into a dog or various other silly things.
You have to,
Most of the
you have
other
to
ones
download those
sell.
now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fair enough. And of course,
You got to go play outside occasionally, right?
it's true.
So this Parrot comes with a 720p camera. It includes the fairly cheap sort of VR goggles, and it only costs $150. So when you eventually do fly it into something and it dies, you're not going to be quite as upset as if you paid for a $500 or $600 one. It looks super easy to do. You can also control it via your phone, so you can give a friend those VR goggles and see if you can make them airsick. Because, who doesn't want to do that?
That's true. That's a good
And
point.
it is also going to work if you want to jump into drone racing. So, a lot of fun.
And last but not least, Alex. Well, let's see. Sebastian picked, what do we got here? A DAC of some kind. Is that what that is?
Yep.
Some Audio-Technica headphones and the HyperX Alloy keyboard. Alex, you have some powered battery backups here. It's a couple different options.
You're going to spend all this money on all this gear. Make sure it's protected. That's all
I
it comes
say that
down
all
to.
the time. Say it all the time.
I mean,
How many of those do you own, Ryan?
We have a lot of these now. Probably like 6 or 7 of them here in the office. Maybe 5 or 6 of them in the office. Between the small ones and the big ones, yeah. I think some of these exact ones is what we bought.
got 4.
Was it last Black Friday?
Yeah, it was.
Where I bought 2 of them and I should have bought like 6 of them instead or something like that. Yeah.
I think you bought like 6 of them.
I think I only bought 2 and then I went to go buy more and they were like literally $100 more expensive.
That's what happened this year. The price on those jumped.
Yeah. So
lot.
okay, now it's back up to $215. Damn it.
Oh,
Wasn't paying attention
Set
to your
up camel,
picks.
camel alert.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Get ready.
You're right. And then also,
dash cam. Mine's been indispensable.
does it record to SD? Is that what it does?
Yep.
All right.
I actually just had to file a police report off mine a couple weeks ago from an altercation with someone.
Uh-oh. Did you get out of your car and get into a fight, Alex?
No, they got in a fight before I got there, but I came up on a fight on the side of the road.
Oh, I
and
see.
Then the guy drove off, and here's the video. Oh, here's his plate. Oh, he's arrested now. Great.
Hopefully it was an anonymous tip.
Yeah, semi.
All right, everybody. That is going to be it for us this week. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back next week. I may or may not be here. Alan will be here. Alex will be here. I don't think Ken will be here.
No.
Ken and I probably won't be here. I don't know. We might. We'll see. Maybe we'll Skype in. You never know. What do you think latency is like to Hawaii? It's probably pretty high.
About a half a second.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's a long latency for a Skype call.
You've done it before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I?
Yeah, I remember you did some podcast when you're out on the balcony with the leg.
Yes, that was like 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Hey, if the technology could do it
And I
6 years
talked
ago,
over you all
nothing,
the
everything's
time.
only gotten
Exactly.
better.
Talking
Should be
about
less than half a
Yes,
second.
everything has gotten so much better this year.
If it's not hopping off a satellite, it should be.
All
less
right.
than half a
That's it
second.
for us, everybody. We'll see you next week. PCPro.com/podcast is where you can go find all the information and links and stuff and subscribes and RSSs and videos and show notes. That's it. Bye, everybody. I'm Ryan Shrout.
I'm Jeremy Hellstrom.
I'm Josh Walrath.
And I'm Alan Valentino.
Good night, everybody. Oh.
Ken, your Bitcoin's trying to go for an all-time high again.
Thank God I just bought in $25 accidentally.
I bought in when it dropped to $6,000 earlier this afternoon.
Yeah.
Well, you might almost double your money.
Did that not happen?
Except that it didn't, and he didn't.
My buy orders. I was going to put in $50K worth of Bitcoin.
It was a different number back then. I think you said 60.
No, he said 50.
I said 50
Oh, you did.
because it was 8 point something Bitcoin.
Or the 2
So,
points.
Alan, let me ask you this question.
Uh-oh.
Sure.
So, I've got a quart of that fluid at 30 degrees centigrade,
Oh,
right?
good.
Centigrade.
Yeah, yeah.
No.
And
for
a
it.
gallon of that fluid at 20 degrees centigrade.
Uh-huh.
How much heat do you need to put in at that point to get the phase change
What's the boiling point?
versus those two?
What's the boiling point of the liquid?
41 degrees Celsius.
Sure, why not?
So you're saying that, like...
I'm leaving.
So I'm
We're
saying
gonna go
that
argue about the Battle of
your
Yavin and
premise
Star Wars
it
ages
does
ago,
not
yeah.
matter how much volume
also-
and thermal density that liquid has.
Good night, everybody.
Okay, here's the thing. Here's what happens. Or are we just cutting this
Because
off?
I
before get to
understand
answer?
that-
No,
at
you
the
guys go ahead.
point-
Go for it.
The bubbles are
got the-
mixing the whole fluid. The bubbles are causing
Yeah,
circulation.
but only in a column right above where it's
And
at.
you're telling me that the liquid that's a few inches away is going to be a completely different temperature?
Because of convection, yes. And eventually, the greater amount of fluid in there, the greater thermal density that it can
No, I'm with you.
absorb
I'm with
overall.
you. But once it's running
Okay,
steady
then we
state,
don't.
once it's running steady state and has been running for a while,
He's not with you.
all of the liquid is at roughly the same temperature within a couple of degrees.
Yeah.
Because whatever's
Okay.
going up, where the vapor is going up to the cooler cools it off. It only cools off enough to make it a liquid
I get
again.
what you're saying, but what I'm talking about significant amounts. Okay, so the guy in QuakeCon had maybe about a gallon in there,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
those guys that showed off the thing had 3 to 4 gallons in that.
Yeah.
You're going to see some significant thermal density differences between those two volumes and masses, even at a steady state, because you've got other factors going on in there, because you've got a larger amount of surface area against whatever is containing it to
Yeah, so
absorb
it's gonna
and
conduct
dissipate
out.
heat.
So you're making
Yes,
the
you're
argument
right.
that you
some
have.
more will be conducted out of that. But
Okay.
remember,
Anyway,
it's
okay,
it's,
we're probably
but
on
the
more
problem
or
with
less
that
the same.
is that it defeats the purpose of it, because the idea with this is that you're fitting a server into a smaller foot space because you don't need the extra space for air convection. So if you start dumping extra liquid or designing a server where you've got the space for that extra liquid mass, now you're not doing the space savings anymore. Sure, you're still probably getting a bit of killing savings, but you don't get the space savings, and you're spending exponentially more on the liquid up front.
But the beauty of the whole phase change thing is it doesn't matter how small the space is, as long as the liquid's touching everything, it's not going to exceed 41C. Like, it doesn't matter.
Until, of course, you boil off all of the liquid.
Unless you're cooler,
if you can't condense it back down fast enough,
Yeah.
then you got a problem, obviously. But
Yeah, I mean, it's still a closed system.
or if the pressure changes.
Look, it's a rebel.
Has to be.
Rebel.
Going off your jacket.
Yeah, we don't have autofocus turned on.
Don't turn it on.
No. Did you notice we have new cameras tonight?
No, I'm using the same one as I was last week.
Not you. I mean,
She said that.
Look at this Boku. Look at this. It's amazing. It's so pretty. Again.
All right,
cool,
well,
pretty.
Look at that table in the background.
Which one? That one?
How come you haven't built it yet?
what table?
Boxes of tables.
That was
It's like
temporary. It
binders
needs
of
to go-
women.
that needs to go back in my basement. That was a temporary card
yeah,
table
it's not here.
for the Thanksgiving card games that were happening at this establishment.
All the euchre. All the time.
Good choice.
All right, well, I think we need to go.
Yeah, I'm feeling like crap. I've been fighting cold.
Friggin'
It's
long
killing me.
week.
Bye, dudes. Chat.
All
Whatever.
right, have a good night.
Y'all have a good one.
Have fun storming the castle.